Hi everyone, welcome to our admission session. And if you've just joined us, welcome to Open Day Live. We're so excited that you're joining us. In this session, we're going to look at the application process, what steps you need to take in order to submit your application, work through your application to actually arrive here in Sydney, Australia. And then once you're here, looking at enrolment, and if you want to study for 1, 2, 3 years, how that actually works itself out. So I'm being joined by our head of admissions, Sarah.
Hi everyone.
And our registrar, Jyoti.
Hi.
These women are incredible and work with our admissions team and our registrar team to make sure that our student experience in the application process and once you arrive is really smooth. So we're just going to chat through some questions that I have for you guys, but also if you have any questions about the application process or if you're in the application process and want to chat to these guys directly, you can do that now, and I'll be able to ask your questions to them on behalf of you, and hopefully you'll leave this session understanding everything you need to know about the application process. So Sarah,
Yes.
can you give us just a brief breakdown of the application process from start to finish?
Of course.
Thanks.
I would love to help. So basically it's up to the applicant or future student, hopefully, to do some research into what course exactly they would like to do.
Okay.
We have an amazing website which answers a lot of those questions. Or we have an inquiries team, which I believe you're a part of.
Yes.
And then it's as simple as going on the website, so Hillsong College, and applying. And what that looks like is you provide us with some personal information, including your name, date of birth, the church you've gone to, the pastor that's going to give your pastoral reference form, who needs to know you for a year.
Right. And that's a very important thing.
Very important thing, guys. That's probably one of the biggest roadblocks to getting you across the line, because we are trying to make it a smooth process that doesn't take very long. I would say if you can get that before you apply or straight after, then you're going to get through quickly.
Yeah, I have a question on that. How long does a future student need to have been in church before they can apply for college?
Okay, so we say 1 year.
Okay.
We do have some applicants who have done things like YWAM, who have done things like mission trips overseas, and that sometimes looks like them having to provide a pastoral reference form from their home church and also the YWAM course.
Awesome.
But ultimately we do have exceptions for everyone because we do want to get everyone here. We believe that there is a call of God in every person's life that has that burning desire to come, so we'll work with you to figure out the best way to get you here. And
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So we do take it as a case-by-case basis, because as Sarah said, we just want you to be here. We want you to experience everything that Hillsong College has for you. So after they've got their pastoral reference form, what next?
Well,
that's all part of the application form, right?
This is still the application. You can apply without some of these things, but we do recommend that you provide as much as you can. So we need the passport. We need a photo of you, just for purposes of knowing who you are. Sometimes passport photos aren't the best representation.
Oh my goodness, you should see mine.
Some people say from about 10 years ago when you can't really recognise it.
Mine doesn't even look like me, and I went through China like a couple of years ago, and I got stopped like by 5 different people had to come and check that it was actually me.
See,
anyway.
This is why we do it, guys. This is why we do it. Some people ask. We also need a financial template that shows that you have saved enough finances. This is just so we know that you're coming with enough money to pay your rent, pay your fees, pay your air flights if you're international.
Yeah.
What else do we need? Medical, if you do have any kind of medical condition, we will ask for a doctor's clearance or even just a plan for you. And that's basically just so if you come, you have a plan of how you're going to care for yourself.
Yeah.
All of it has a purpose. Like we aren't trying to stop people from come. Like I said, we want everyone here. But yeah, it's just so we know that you've already pre-entered what could happen and how you can potentially respond if something were to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the financial plan as well, we get this question a few times, and it's we always say we want you to win. We want you to start strong, we want you to stay strong, and we want you to finish strong as well.
Love it.
And so having a plan and having the questions that we ask are to help you, so that you don't kind of get stuck halfway, and then God is going to do something in your life, and that's what we were committed to. And so we ask all of these questions to make sure that you stay strong throughout the whole process.
I love that. So you've submitted your application form with everything that you've just mentioned, and then what happens?
Well, some of you that are watching have probably actually received an email from me. What happens is there's 3 beautiful girls on my team. 3 including me. Sorry. 2 of them are Sarah, which is super confusing. But one of the Sarahs will respond to you, and basically we hold your hand, we do the journey with you, we pray for you, we write emails, countless emails backwards and forwards, just prompting you to get the information we need, helping you if you've got any questions. And no question is too silly. Like, we appreciate people asking questions. But I do want to mention too, the website is incredible. The website has so many of the answers of the questions that we get, and quite often we do actually ask people to go back to the website, because although we want to help you do the journey, we want you to make decisions for yourself. Like,
Absolutely.
Many people ask, should I do hills or city? And I actually studied in the city, but I live in the hills now, and I could tell you my own personal opinion, but I also don't want to sway your opinion. So basically, as a case manager, we're doing everything in our power to get you here. Like I said, all of us girls believe in you, and I think from my experience, I've realised that there's actually a weight and responsibility to all of our roles, because, we're actually fighting for you to get here in the natural, in the supernatural, and we take our role really seriously.
That's awesome. And I can attest to that as well. These girls are praying for all of our future students, as are we, our entire staff actually, on a regular basis, because we believe that once you come, that God has something supernatural prepared for you. So we're super excited about all of our applications, and really believe for you to be able to come. So how long can people expect to wait before they find out that they're accepted into Hillsong College?
That's where it varies a lot.
Okay.
So it can depend on a number of things: the financial plan, the pastoral reference form. Like I said, that's probably the biggest hold up, because unfortunately sometimes boxes don't get ticked or answers don't get completed, and we have to send it back and wait on the response. It can be anywhere between 2 days to 2 months, honestly. And that's just depending on how quickly people are responding to our emails.
Right. So that's not the first contact. You're not going to have to wait 2 months to hear from them.
Oh, gosh.
But you might have to work with them to get your application submitted and all the extra pieces, and that may take up to 2 months if you're not quite ready to submit all your forms yet. But you will hear from the admissions team within 2 days.
Unless it's the weekend. But you still should hear from us for 2 days, after 2 days.
Right, and also depending on time zones as well.
Oh, true.
But we do our best to get to get back to you within 48 hours. So what is the difference between applying as a domestic student and applying as an international student?
Well, being a domestic student, I have to say I was so oblivious to what it took for an international student to come here. The biggest thing I would say is finances, because visas are expensive. Also, I would say, on the topic of visas, if you are an international student, I would apply sooner rather than later, because we will do everything we can to get you your COEs. But really, it's up to the government to approve your COEs and give you a visa. We do everything we can on our end, but especially if you're from countries like India, Philippines, Africa, get your applications in as soon as possible, just because I know it does actually take a little bit longer for those applications to be approved, and we want to see you here when in the intake that you want to be here. Apart from visas, there's overseas health insurance, which is something that international applicants need.
And let me just say really briefly, just because I am from New Zealand, so I know this.
So international.
I'm so international. I'm sure 3.5 hours flight. You don't need a visa or healthcare if you're coming from New Zealand. You can actually just get on a flight and declare that you're a resident when you arrive in the country, and that
It's another
works.
state of Australia, so
Okay.
it's fine.
Oh, we are. This is what you have to deal with, Kiwis, when you arrive in Australia. Okay, so you've submitted your application. That's fully submitted. You've applied for your visa. You've applied for your healthcare. At that point, you apply for student housing. Yep. Or is there a step in between there?
If you've gotten a visa.
If you've received your visa, then you can move on to that application process. And then you book your flights.
Yes, but I do want to mention...
Please, go for it.
We're in this process at the moment. If you're booking your flights, please wait until you get your visa approved. And please wait until you see what date your health insurance commences, because if you get to Australia and it's 2 days before your health insurance commences, you can get turned around. And we don't want that for our students. We are excited with you, and we're so excited for you to get your flights, and we love hearing when you tell us you've got your flights, but it's so sad when we have to mention to someone that unfortunately, because it doesn't line up with their health insurance, they have to either rebook or reschedule.
That's good.
Yeah, and and like Sarah said, we celebrate. We absolutely, there's cheering and hollering going on in the office every time someone gets a visa, because we know that you're coming to get your life changed.
Yeah.
That's behind all of this. I've got to get all my I's dotted and my T's crossed, and I've got to prepare. God comes through. Like, we see people who have miraculous provision with financial plans. We see people who get visas, which, apparently from those countries, people are not supposed to be getting visas at this time. And so I just want to really encourage everyone that as Sarah's talking through the application process, don't get overwhelmed. Remember that God is at work. That's what we're about.
So good.
But if you planned and you prepared, then you, again, I go back to, you start in strength, and then you'll get everything out of college. And don't get overwhelmed is, I think, what I'm trying to say.
Love it.
But yes, it is your responsibility. We will open the doors to Hillsong College, but we don't have the authority to open the doors to Australia. That's a good way of looking at it. There's a big front door called Australia, and then there's another door called Hillsong College, and we control the doors to Hillsong College. But it is a student's responsibility to make sure that they do everything right by immigration.
That's awesome. So entry requirements for Hillsong College? Entry? Excuse the accent.
It's
what are
basically what I've already explained, I would say. All of the information, just getting...
So like a high school certificate?
That's for higher education.
Okay.
Yeah, so higher education, you do need a notarized passport, notarized transcripts of high school, bachelor's.
Right.
But apart from that, it is the regular...
So the high school, for vet, we do need them to complete year 12 or equivalent in
but
their home
they don't
country.
need to, show any documents.
Right, we don't need documents. For
Awesome. So how do fees differ from stream to stream, and why?
Fees, if you go onto the website, you'll see the fees differ, and the main reason is we're vocational training and education, so our students are hands-on practically. Even right now, behind the cameras, we've got students who are involved in the TV media stream maybe, and equipment, the kind of training you received, what you're involved with, that all plays a part in the fees as well. So you'll notice that TV production, etc., cost a little bit more than the pastoral stream. It's linked in with that.
Because of the equipment that you get to use.
Yeah, and the type of training that you get and things like that.
So how much money should they save, our future students?
That's yours.
All of the money.
It's case by case. We do ask to see a certain amount of money for domestic and international.
I think it's dependent upon, also a very big part is how you're paying your fees. If you've got your fees already, then you need a certain amount saved up for living to get started off here. What kind of job you have, how you're going to generate income while you're here. And I think that's why Sarah's saying case by case.
Yeah.
Really important. Fees are really important. So hop on the website, have a look at which course you're interested in, and then that way you can work out for yourself. Some students already have accommodation here if they've got friends. Other students want accommodation through college.
Yeah.
So a budget is, I think, that's probably have conversations and then work out.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Also, let me just say, we live in the Hills district. We live surrounded by restaurants and a few shopping malls. And in the city, there are cafes and restaurants all around the place. So finding a job is generally an easy thing to do. If you get your resume up to date, hand it out when you get here. We've found that our students can find work relatively easily. And the average wage in Australia is between about $18 to $22 per hour, which is a really high wage. So when I was studying, I taught music. And I found that I had enough money for my fees, for my rent. I went home a couple of times. I could go to the movies with my friends and go into the city. Like, you do actually earn enough during the week. You can work up to 20 hours if you're an international student. And if you're a domestic student, obviously you can work as many hours as you like. But even on 20 hours a week that I worked, I found that there was more than enough to pay for fees, to pay rent, etc. Yeah. So get what you need to get saved first to be able to come over for your fees, initial fees, your flights, etc. But then once you get here, work really hard to get a job, and you'll find that will actually help pay your way through college. And we really believe, and we see week after week in chapel, testimonies of God providing thousands of dollars for our students. There's always miraculous stories of what God has done in providing. So we also believe that supernaturally God is providing for our students as well.
Absolutely.
In that area.
Just one thing to add, in the holidays, when semester is, when it's not a teaching semester, international students can work full-time as well. So a lot of our students stay on in December and January, and that's 2 whole months of being able to work full-time. I'm finding that a few students who are in my classes also have jobs which are just online. They already have jobs set up from back home. Awesome. And then they're here in Australia, but they're still able to work online. So that's another way.
So we have a couple of questions from our audience. Do New Zealand students, well, first, kia ora. Do New Zealand students have to pay international or Australian fees when it comes to their courses?
They're the same thing.
Yeah, they're the same price. Obviously, the New Zealand dollar is a little weaker than the Australian. That's right. But all the fees are the same for our vet courses. So for our practical ministry training, they're the same price. Yeah. And Michelle, if my visa doesn't get approved in time for next semester, can I postpone my start to the semester afterwards?
Yeah. And we actually would recommend that. I know for a fact my fiance was denied his first visa and he was accepted with his second visa. So without being pushy, we would love for you to make a decision to try again, because one visa doesn't mean that God's not going to move mountains to get you here. I would suggest that you apply again, and it's easy for us if you've only applied, say, for January 2018. It's so easy for us to actually move you over to July 2018. We've already got all of your application pieces. We might need you to send through a new pastoral reference form just because of the change in time. But we'll do everything we can to help you along that journey as well.
Can I just encourage you as well? We have a couple in college actually who applied who waited 17 years for their visa. They're from Kenya. And they finally got their visa after 17 years of waiting. And sometimes it just looks like hard work and waiting. Yeah. And waiting on God in the midst of it and not giving up if you know that God has put this dream and this call on your life, just working hard and waiting to see it come to fruition. So one question, what happens if I only apply for 1 year, but when I get here, I want to do another one?
Absolutely. And we always say, why wouldn't you want to do that? We're hoping that students do. Yeah. That the experience that you go through in first year makes you want to stay on for second and third. The training is a little bit different. In first year, you learn a lot about yourself. In second year, and about personal leadership. In second year, it's about leading teams. In third year, teams of teams. So at the end of your course, we're in this process right now in a student body. Towards the end of semester, we allow the students an opportunity to apply for second year. You have to graduate with your first year of study before you go to second,
Right.
and same thing, graduate with second before you go into third. Our qualifications add on to each other. So
Right. So you
that's
do
what
have
it
to
is.
finish first year well to be able to move into second year. And you don't have to apply for all 3 years at the same time. You can just start with first year. I know I came for 1 year and I ended up doing all of them, staying for third year. And so I think a lot of our students find once they get here and they experience all that Hillsong College offers and the incredible environment and culture they get to be a part of, that they want to stay and learn and glean from the leadership that are teaching it. So we're actually going to finish this session up. A huge thank you for you guys. These guys are on the ends of your emails and they're praying. We're all praying. And we can't wait to see you soon. Again, if you've got any more questions, we have team waiting on Facebook to answer anything that you might have. And stick around for our next session with our academic dean, Duncan Corby, who's going to be talking about our practical ministry training, which is our VET courses. So first year, second year, third year, and the different streams that you can study in that. So stick around.